انت الشفيع الأكرم أنا جبناك يا مريم جبرين فالناصر ببشارتك الفاخرة
كيف جاءتني يا يوسف؟ كيف صرفك؟ كيف حالك؟ أنا طلعت كيف بلدك؟ ومالتك؟ والأهل يحميك كيفني؟ ما بدي لك مشوار تشوفك.
الاغتراب اللبناني هو أكبر ملحمة في التاريخ. إنه قصة الحياة الموزعة تحت كل سماء، منتظمة كدورة الدم تفعل في جسم العالم كله وتظل مرتبطة بالقلب. هذا القلب هو لبنان. إن الانتساب إلى هذا البلد الصغير الكبير إنما يعطي شيئا من العنفوان ويجتث مركب النقص من صدور بعض الخائفين على مصير لبنان. اللبناني يجب أن لا يشعر بالضعف ولا بالخوف على مصير لبنان ما دامت حدود العالم اللبناني هي السواعد والعقول. لقد كان لبنان وما زال بلدا مصدرا للرجال، فوظف رساميله البشرية في جميع بلدان العالم. ليس هناك من إحصاء دقيق عن اللبنانيين الضاربين في 4 أقطار الكرة، ولكن من الثابت أن 3 أضعاف أبناء لبنان تقريبا هم في الخارج، وأن لبنان هو بالنسبة إليهم عالم فوق هذا العالم. فهذا التعايش المزدهر فيه بين جميع المعتقدات الدينية والإيديولوجية هو الذي سيبقي لبنان في شباب دائم وعلى صمود مستمر.
I'll now try to concentrate on the main migration periods which took place. These were mainly in 1902 when there were approximately 1,800 persons in Australia at that time. And then another period followed where the migration was slowly begun, and that was in 1971. And then another period which brought in an influx of migrants, which were mainly around 76, 78. This is as a result of the political troubles and fighting which took place in Lebanon. There were different kind of people in that. I think the experiences they had were further compounded by the fact that they had not only experienced loss of property, but they also had to cope with death of members of their family, friends or relatives. So really we're talking about different kind of people that fled the war, in that they really were not prepared for the transition whatsoever. The only concern at that time for them was to come out from that, a really terrible period of war and come to another area, a place where they can seek safety and security for their own family. So, the kind of experience is really compounded for them. It's different to any other migrant that, comes from one country to another. Well, I think, really migration is a kind of a difficult experience for all people concerned, because it involves, separation from your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, and familiar places. It's really disorientation as a whole. And once you come out from that particular area and jump into another one, everything is so different to you. And the kind of problems that a person experiences is really hard, because they're trying to acquaint themselves with what's going on. And by the time they establish themselves, it sort of takes them some time to do that. So I think, Leila could tell us a little about some of the experiences I think that she has had.
Well, we've been here over 30 years now. I came as a little child. We had to go to school and trying to make new friends, a new country, your mother and father paying off the houses. Then we established ourselves into a very well business at the moment. And we had help from the Australian people. All our neighbours looked after us and helped us till we get established. And we helped each other. All the Lebanese, we knew each other and we helped each other. At the moment, you see in the Sydney area, you see all the Lebanese shops by Lebanese people, like Mansour's, Rubenev scarves, Continental shirts, all our Lebanese foods. No matter where you go now, you can get all the Lebanese food you want. You get all our culture, everything, whatever you want, it's all available to you here in Australia. When we came out 30 years ago, there was hardly anything. We used to bring out everything with us from Lebanon. And now how have we established and we have achieved this, we should be grateful to the country we came to Australia and thank them very much for helping us.
كيفك يا اخوي ابو سعيد؟ كيف صحتك؟ ان شاء الله بخير، لا تطول على الغيب. انا منيح، صحتي منيحه، انا وعيد الحمد لله بألف خير وشغل منيح، سلمني على اهلي. الضيعه الحمد لله بألف خير، تأس عنا هون حلو، لا تطول علينا. سمعت يا ابو سعيد؟ تعال عنا لا تطول علينا ها. حولها منيحه الحمد لله.
Lebanese food, what we call the food of the gods. We have here,
لحم بعجين,
which is lady fingers,
and this is samki harra,
which is a baked fish with a sauce,
and this is jad,
which is a barbecued chicken with flavour on garlic flavour,
and that's kibbe,
which is our national dish.
and this is hummus patini.
Hummus patini is a dip, actually. It's the introduction to the food for the
And this is
evening.
tabbouleh. It's well known with the Lebanese and the Australian. They all love it.
And with the food for the Lebanese, you just do not make one dish for a meal. There's at least 3 or 4 on the table. When you're having a banquet, this is just a very small collection of what we can do for a banquet. You find also that the vegetarian side of Lebanese cooking is something that should be accentuated, because on this table here you have a lot of meat dishes, but the tabbouleh is the beginning of probably 15 to 20 dishes that are made without any meat whatsoever. But you never seem to leave the table feeling very heavy. This is the beauty of Lebanese food. It isn't cooked in lots of fat. It's actually, we only cook in oil, and it's the best olive oil you use.
شغلك كله هيك؟ It's all very good. You did all the cooking here. I think so. Very good. Hummus? الأعجوبة اللبنانية، يقول جورج نقاش، تقوم على هذا المزيج الغريب المتوازن، المزيج بين الشرق والغرب وبين المسيحية والإسلام. بالنسبة إلى الشرق والغرب، لا يستطيع اللبناني أن يقطع نهائيا مع الشرق أو مع الغرب. أما بالنسبة إلى المسيحية والإسلام، فبالرغم من بقاء التطيف عند مستغلي السياسة حادة، فإن المسيحي لا يستطيع أن يتصور لبنان وقد خلا نهائيا من المسلمين، والمسلم لا يستطيع أن يتصور لبنان بدون مسيحيين.
education in Lebanon is the purpose and goal of all. Every parent strives to send at least one child to university. They're ready to sacrifice everything they have, including their houses and properties, in order to educate their children. Now, the same parents in Australia haven't changed. They still have the purpose of educating their children. However, there are many problems involved. For instance, students who have recently arrived from Lebanon, we all know that they've just escaped a big strife over there, to find themselves in the center of another conflict between, for example, the school and the family, one set of value against another. Children are disadvantaged primarily because the institution operates in one language totally new to them. On the top of that, they're supposed to master the complications of other subjects also being taught in the same language. The result, of course, is depression and frustration, leading to feelings of inferiority and insecurity.
يا أمي يا علة كياني ورفيقة أحزاني يا رجائي في شدتي وعزائي في شقوتي يا لذتي في حياتي وراحتي في مماتي يا حافظة عهدي ومطيبة سهدي وهدية رشدي يا ضحكة فوق مهدي أمي وما أحلاك يا أمي.
We're trying to join the letters together. We know that the B and the Aleph can be linked because the Aleph follows the letter B, and the letter B, of course, precedes the Aleph. Because remember, in Arabic, we go from right to left. So? Well, as a Lebanese, I'm happy to have this spectrum of professions coming to learn my language. First of all, it's one way of establishing a good line of communication between the Lebanese in Australia and the Australians, and it'll give them the feeling of how a Lebanese feels when he comes to Australia and attempts to sort of learn a new language and adjust at the same time to a new way of life.
Alhamdulillah, كيف كنتي؟ الله يسلمك، كيف حال؟